We are just 2 weeks away from the Great American Bash PLE for NXT, and we got to talk about who's next in
All
NXT.
your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome into the We Book It podcast. I am your host, Virgil. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode. Remember to please like, share, and follow and subscribe to the podcast. That's right. Thank you also for everybody that's watching us on Twitch, everybody that's checking these episodes out via Instagram, via all the different areas and avenues that we have. Thank you guys so much. So we want to get right down to business because we're talking who's next in NXT. And there's so much going down on this episode. That's right. Yoshiki Inamura takes on Jasper Troy for the right to challenge Oba Femi for the NXT Championship at the Great American Bash. Meanwhile, TNA's Joe Hendry comes to town once again to take on Wes Lee in singles action with Trick Williams looming large. Miles Bourne will work his first match since breaking free of the No Quarter Catch crew when he takes on Lexus King, and we got so much more. So that's right. I want you guys to definitely make sure that you guys are locked in with your boy. Here we go. So the show opens up with a video package recapping last week's show. Obviously, last week's show was primarily more about the women, obviously setting up Jordynne Grace for her title shot at Evolution that we're all excited for her for. But this was the tonight is all about the guys. That's right. And so I like how Shawn Michaels does his booking where it feels like certain shows will be more predicated towards the women's wrestling and establishing their storylines, and then other shows will be more predicated towards the men's wrestling and just establishing them and what they're doing. So the first match, Trick Williams makes his way to the ring and joins the commentary booth for this one. Then next thing you know, after that, Wes Lee and Joe Hendry make their entrances, circling, and then collar and elbow. Hendry with an arm ringer. He takes down Lee with a wrist lock. I think it's crazy that Joe Hendry, as the bigger competitor, is going to chain wrestle Wes Lee, but I guess it's a way to keep him grounded instead of, and instead of letting him fly all over the ring, because that's definitely not what you want to do. So then, like I said, we go from there. They chain wrestle back and forth. And then obviously the whole time that the match is going on, Joe Hendry has one eye outside of the ring on Trick Williams, and that in turn allows Wes Lee to take the advantage and at certain points kind of take over the match, but he always gains it back. And then literally we get the stomp clap, and then he floats Lee over. They're trading punches. And then he gives them a standing ovation. After the match, then you have Trick Williams try to get involved, and then Mike Santana arrives to pull them to even up the odds. And Joe Hendry dodges the enziguri, and then he gets him up. Trick stands on the announce table and stares down his two contenders. That's right. Mike Santana has been added to the TNA World Championship match. It'll be a triple threat match at the next TNA pay-per-view. We get an earlier today backstage segment where Izzy Dame tries to convince Tatum Paxley that they're friends, and Zarya tells her to go ahead and believe her nonsense if she wants. Then Luca Crusifino is shown walking backstage to send us to break. Back from commercial break, Luca Crusifino gets on the mic, calling Tony D'Angelo down and saying he wants to put this to bed right now. Out comes Tony D'Angelo, bemused that his concierge is calling him out. Luca says Tony thinks everyone is out to get him, and D'Angelo says that's right. He's so not out to get him that he cost him his title match last week. They bicker about who hit who in the face, and Crusifino says he's given D'Angelo the respect to listen to him. Now he wants him to listen to him. He left college with 1 year of eligibility and turned down offers from top law firms in the country for a job he's wanted since he was a child. He's given up so much, even just for the chance to be in WWE. And D'Angelo should know for a fact that he's never done a damn thing to doubt him, and he should know that is loyalty. Let me tell you something. I don't buy this one single solitary bit. I don't think he's loyal at all. I think him and Stacks are setting D'Angelo up, but that's just me. But anyways, Stacks comes out to the ring. He thanks Luca for winning him the title, and the Don says that's exactly what he's talking about. Crusifino tells him to shut the hell up. This is between him and Tony. D'Angelo agrees. It's between him and his consi. Luca decks D'Angelo. Stacks jumps in the ring and hugs and smiles Crusifino, but Luca decks him too. Crusifino gets on the mic and says his loyalty lies with himself, and he takes his leave. Man, what a segment right there. You could easily see a triple threat match coming up between these three guys. You could see it from a mile away. I think it's going to be money. There's a lot of layers to this rivalry. And this is, like I said, a good story for NXT that isn't always necessarily story based or story driven, not like the main rosters. This actually gives them a story to sink their teeth into and something for them to talk about. Backstage, we got Oba Femi being interviewed. He says he sees why Yoshiki Inamura has become beloved by the fans so quickly, but Jasper Troy is a mountain to overcome, and he wants to see who wins. Yoshiki rolls up with Josh Briggs, and Inamura says he's going to win, and Oba says he is the only constant here, and he'll be seeing the winner soon. Yoshiki tells him that he won't be waiting long, and he'll see him at the bash. After that, Lexus King makes his entrance, and we go to break. Back from break is Lexus King versus Miles Bourne. These two go back and forth, trading wrist locks and collar tie elbows. They leapfrog, roll over each other, the drop downs and everything like that. The win comes when Miles Bourne gets under him. He hits him with a big Olympic slam for only a 2. And then he presses the attack with a big drop kick and then follows that up with a zigzag. And Miles Bourne wins by pinfall. Then Dark State cuts a promo taking credit for all the chaos of NXT lately. Sorry, y'all. And suggests that nothing happens without their approval. And then Thea Hale makes her entrance to send us to commercial break. Laney Reed and Thea Hall are going to go back and forth and have a match against each other. This match is honestly a piss break. But Thea with an O'Connor roll, no deal. Then a big knee from Laney, and this time the refs missed the hands on the ropes, and Laney Reed wins by pinfall with a knee strike and the hand on the rope. Piss break match. No Quarter Catch crew are backstage chatting with Tavion Heights about his loss last week. Charlie Dempsey says Heights still needs more time in NQCC, but Tavion asked for the same deal that Charlie gave Miles. Ren Sinclair is for it. Dempsey gets browbeat into accepting it, but says when he wins, they're not going to have this conversation again. I don't get quite why you have to fight your way out of the out of the NQCC. I've never understood that. I mean, I get it storyline wise, especially for Miles Bourne, him wanting to become his own man. But it kind of seems to me like it's kind of productive to have them fighting each other all this time and trying to stay or get out of the group versus just whether you being in or out of the group. I think you're better served having them fight after maybe the tag team titles, maybe putting Charlie Dempsey on the map as a bigger star, because he has all the potential in the world. And I think he's twice as evil as his father. But I mean, again, it just takes time. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Back from commercial break, Jasper Troy cuts a promo about how he's going to beat Yoshiki Inamura and then win the NXT Championship at the Great American Bash. Jasper Troy, man, I'm telling y'all, he's somebody to watch. Dude is money. Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley versus Sol Ruka and Zarya. This match, obviously Sol Ruka and Zarya are the oddest couple since Seth Rollins. I'm sorry, since Randy Orton and Matthew Boy and Matt, not Matthew Boy, and Matt Riddle. So, like I said, it's weird to see these two out here together as a tag team wrestling, but it works. So Ruka and Zarya clear the ring at the bell. Sol gets to grinding Paxley down in a waist lock. They go back and forth for a long time. The match breaks down when Zarya accidentally spears Soul. When Tatum pulls Izzy out of the way, Zarya is furious. She gets low bridge by Paxley. Dame goes to work on Ruka, and they win with a spine buster from Dame on Soul Ruka. And Izzy, Dame, and Tatum Paxley beat and defeat Soul Ruka and Zarya. You clearly see, I feel like in my heart of hearts that Zarya is going to end up turning on her and going heel. She already has the makings of a heel superstar. She looks like a heel wrestler already. I think it's going to be great for her. Next up, we see Ava Raine is meeting in her office with Ricky Saints and All Ego Ethan Page, who brought the Vanity Project with him. Interesting. Ava wants them to keep it civil, and Page says going forward, he will dictate everything about the NXT North American Championship on his terms. But he is a fighting champion, and he is in a fantastic mood, so he'll let Ricky earn a match if he only survives the Vanity Project Gauntlet. Ooh, that's a good setup right there. Jackson Drake fakes a cough like he's afraid, but Saint says he doesn't mind because when he beats the Gauntlet, he wants to pick the stipulation for the title match. Rain likes it and makes it official. Over All Ego's objections, we go to break. Back from commercial break, we get a Chase U vignette where Andre Chase apologizes to Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors. He says tough love is the only way he knows, but they helped him bring Chase U back. He went ahead on and got Kale a singles match. He just wants him to know, to promise he'll listen to him and show everybody he's Chase U tough. Joe Hendry and Mike Santana are interviewed backstage. They more or less agree to work together to fight High Rise next week and bring the TNA World Heavyweight Championship back to TNA, even if each of them thinks he's the one that's going to do it. Josh Briggs gives Yoshiki and Amora a pep talk, and Jasper Troy makes his entrance to send us to break. Back from break, the Culling are hanging out backstage with Tatum Paxley, and they're all smiles and congratulations. Then Ava Raine rolls up to tell Izzy Dame that she gets NXT Women's North American Championship match at the Great American Bash, and she thanks Tatum for helping her. Hank and Tank roll up to accuse the Culling of attacking them last week. There's lots of bickering and screaming. Tatum defends her new friends and challenges them to put the tag team titles on the line next week. Ava books it and leaves them to their bickering. So we're getting the tag team championship match next week. That'll be good to see. Then we have the main event for the NXT Championship #1 contenders match. Jasper Troy versus Yoshiki and Amora. This match was as hard-hitting a match as you're going to see all week on television. That's right. I'm talking about WWE, AEW, TNA, anywhere. But Troy was in control early with a body slam and an elbow drop for a 2. These two go back and forth. We have a spot where Elamara whips him across, ducks a backbreaker. Lariat sends Troy to the floor, and Yoshiki is fired up. That takes us to commercial break. Then back after commercial break, Troy freight trains in Amora with a pair of big splashes, a third one pressing his attack, another boss man slam, another near fall, and then Yoshiki in with the 100-hand slap. He chops in the corner, hammer whip, throwing Jasper into the turnbuckle hard, scooping him up, big body slam, the Revolution body slam, diving splash, and then the 1, 2, 3. That's right. Yoshiki and Amora beats Jasper Troy and is now the #1 contender for the NXT Championship. Post-match, Amora has a confrontation with Oba Femi on the ramp while Javon Evans drops Jasper Troy in the ring. Then after that, we see Jordynne Grace and Sean walking backstage to send us to break. Back for commercial break. The commentary hypes up next week's show, and then Jordynne Grace makes her entrance and gets on the mic. She says getting to this point is the hardest thing she's ever done, but she thrives under pressure. And the bigger the battle, the bigger the win. She's walking into Evolution, a storied event, not just for WWE, but for women's wrestling, and she's going to make history. She says she's been thinking lately, and she's had to get vulnerable and ask herself if she really belongs here in WWE. A lot of us know her journey, and she didn't grow up saying she was born to be a WWE superstar. But she did everything she had to do to get here and become someone who they couldn't ignore. And at Evolution, she's going to beat JC Jane and remind herself who she is, because she may not have been born for this. And then enter Fatal Influence. JC Jane calls her a pitiful, and she might be able to bench press a ton, but she can't carry this division. And maybe one day a title will magically fall into her arms, but it won't be her NXT championship, and it won't be Evolution, because she's at the top of her game. She's talking a little bit more before Jordan's finally had enough and tells her to shut up. JC shocked the world, but when she beats her at Evolution, it's going to be no surprise. Fatal Influence attacked the challenger and beat her up until Blake Monroe makes the save. She and Grace managed to fend off Fatal Influence. Ava Raine appears on the stage, and over a squabbling from JC, she books Fallon Henley and JC Jane against Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe at the Great American Bash. Another good tag team match. Definitely want to see that one. Fatal Influence returned to the ring for more brawling, but the babyfaces take them out easily before high-fiving. And that is your Who's Next with NXT episode for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Remember, keep those booking pencils sharp and keep on